Precambrian. As soon as you land, you notice something. There isn't any solid ground yet, just a glowing ocean of melted rock stretching out as far as you can see. The heat coming off it hits your skin right away, and within moments it starts to blister. You try to take a breath and you notice your lungs burning instantly, since the air around you has no oxygen at all, only a thick mix of gases that poison you the moment they enter your body. You look up, and the sky doesn't look like a sky at all. It's a dark haze lit up by the streaks of fire above, because asteroids and comets are slamming into the planet constantly during this time. One of them could hit close enough to wipe out everything around you in an instant. Within seconds, your legs give out and you collapse. Then, your brain shuts off from lack of oxygen and you never wake back up again. Cambrian. The first thing you notice is that you can finally breathe, even though not that well, since oxygen levels are still lower than what your body is used to. Then you notice the ground beneath you is just gray rock and dust stretching out, with nothing green anywhere in sight. The sun feels harsher and more direct than anything you felt before, because the ozone layer that blocks ultraviolet radiation hasn't properly formed yet. By the first hour, your arms and face are bright red and swelling, the skin tightening and starting to blister in patches. By hour 3, the blisters are splitting open, leaving raw, exposed patches that sting with every breath of air that moves across them. Your lips crack and bleed, and your eyes hurt to keep open. You need water badly enough that you drag yourself toward the coastline. You wade in, and the salt water hits your open blisters like fire, but you stay in because the cool water is the only relief you felt all day. You try to drink, but the salt makes everything worse. While you're crouched there, something sharp catches your calf, then your ankle. Anomalocaris, drawn in by your movement, clamps its spiny appendages against your leg, not hard enough to do serious damage, but enough to open up several cuts along your shin. You kick it away and it comes back. You drag yourself back out of the water, too thirsty to think straight and too hungry to move well. Eventually, you succumb to a slow death, as if you were cooked alive. Silurian. For the first time, you see the first real greenery. Patches of low moss-covered plants are growing across the rocks nearby. You walk over, hoping maybe there's something edible, but the plants are tough and fibrous, nothing your body could actually digest. Hours pass and your hunger starts setting in fast, since there's no fruit, no seeds, nothing on land yet built for you to eat. Paying more attention than the last time, seeing what happened to you in the Cambrian period, you decide to check the tide pools along the coast instead of the ocean, thinking maybe there's something edible in the safer, shallow water. As you crouch down near one of the pools, you spot small fish like creatures darting between the rocks, but before you can reach for one, you feel a sharp sting against your ankle. You look down and see a long, segmented tail curling up from the water, ending in a sharp, pointed spike that's just stabbed into your skin. Attached to it is a massive armored creature, its body covered in plates, with large, paddle-like legs gripping the rocks. The sting starts burning almost immediately, spreading heat up your leg as the venom moves through your bloodstream. Your heartbeat starts racing as your body tries to fight off the venom. Your hands begin to tingle, then go numb, and a wave of dizziness hits as your muscles keep tightening on their own, making you fall down. Within minutes, your breathing slows and turns shallow. Your chest feels tight like something's pressing down on it, and your vision blurs at the edges before fading into darkness. Devonian. You're now standing at the edge of what almost looks like a forest, except the trees are nothing like what you're used to. They're tall and thin with strange branching tops instead of leaves. This is one of the first real forests on Earth. As you walk deeper, you notice a bizarre, spire-like fungus that grows up to 26 feet, and that the ground is buried in dry, unrotted branches, which snap under your feet. Then you smell smoke. Far off at first, but it grows stronger fast, so you turn back the way you came. You see flames already spreading low across the forest floor, moving quicker than you'd expect. During this period, oxygen levels are rising rapidly, so fires burn hotter and faster than anything you've seen. The flames practically race along the dry ground and climb up the thin trees around you, so you try to run, but the smoke thickens fast, filling your lungs and making it hard to see which direction leads back out. Your throat burns with every breath, and your legs start to feel heavy as the heat closes in from multiple sides at once. Within minutes, the smoke overtakes you. Your body collapses onto the forest floor, and eventually, fire catches you. Carboniferous. The first thing you notice here is the air. It feels thick and damp, thanks to the endless tropical swamps surrounding you. Oxygen levels are at their highest point in Earth's history during this period, and everything around you looks oversized. You hear a strange, loud, buzzing sound coming towards you, and then a dragonfly the size of a bird glides past you. Insects here are far bigger than anything you've seen before. You start walking through the dense undergrowth between massive tree trunks, when the ground beneath you starts to feel softer with every step. You don't think much of it until your foot suddenly sinks deep into the mud, and when when you try to pull it out, the other leg sinks in just as fast. You realize too late that you've wandered into one of the swamp's hidden bog pits, thick wet peat that's been building up here for ages. You try to grab onto nearby roots to pull yourself free, but your legs are locked in place. Panic sets in as you sink to your waist, so you twist and thrash, desperately trying to pull your legs free. You know that since the human body is buoyant, you won't go completely under. But if you get stuck, it's still a death sentence. You simply won't be able to reach food. However, there's another factor you haven't thought about. The violent movement does something worse. It disturbs the deep, rotting layers of the bog beneath you. A massive bubble of trapped hydrogen sulfide and methane gas, sealed under the mud for decades, suddenly erupts to the surface right beneath your face. You gasp for air, but your lungs fill with the invisible, toxic swamp gas. You gasp, expecting the foul stench of a swamp, but a dose this concentrated instantly paralyzes your sense of smell. The burning spreads outward from your chest as the hydrogen sulfide blocks your cells from absorbing oxygen. A deafening, high-pitched ringing fills your ears. Then, your peripheral vision collapses into a tight, dark tunnel, and your limbs suddenly feel like they weigh 1,000 pounds. Before you can even take a second breath, your central nervous system simply shuts down. You stop struggling, your paralyzed upper body slumping forward into the wet peat, trapped waist-deep in the spot that millions of years from now will become a seam of coal. Permian. The landscape here looks basically like the opposite of the last one. It's dry and open, stretching out in reddish dirt and scattered rock formations. The air feels much warmer and drier. Oxygen dropped to 16%, so breathing feels like you're at the top of a mountain. With all of this dryness and hotness, you know that you need to find a water source ASAP, so you walk a bit until you finally find a riverbed. You crouch down near the water when you hear something moving between the rocks behind you. Then, a low growl cuts through the silence. You freeze and slowly turn to see a creature crouched low to the ground, its mouth lined with two long curved teeth jutting down past its jaw. It's a saber-toothed gorgonopsid, one of the top predators of this time, and it's looking at you. You take a slow step back, but the moment you move, it lunges. Its speed catches you completely off guard, covering the gap between you in seconds. The teeth sink into your shoulder first, the pressure crushing through muscle almost instantly, and the pain shoots through your entire body as it knocks you to the ground with its weight. You try to push it off, but the bite tightens further, the long teeth tearing deeper with every shake of its head. Your vision starts to blur from the shock, your limbs growing weak as blood loss sets in fast. Within moments, your body goes still, and you become its meal. Triassic. The most important novelty here is that finally, dinosaurs technically exist now. However, that's not really the main threat you're worried about. Early dinosaurs are small, almost forgettable next to the massive and heavily armored crocodiles that dominate rivers. They're called phytosaurs and can be up to 20 feet long. They're a huge problem because the landscape is similar to the last era, with hot and dry air, so the scarce water sources are vital. You start scouting for one even though they're incredibly dangerous, since not drinking results in a guaranteed death. As you walk, you notice the environment seems kinda empty, with a post-apocalyptic vibe. That's because the Permian ended with the Great Dying, the worst mass extinction in Earth's history, where roughly 90% of all life on Earth was wiped out. Eventually, you come across a river, and you start scanning the water, making sure there are no threats. However, you're looking in the wrong direction. You didn't account for Postosuchus, a 20-foot-long land predator. He immediately starts sprinting towards you, covering 30 feet in under 2 seconds. You turn to run, but there's no outrunning it. It slams into you from the side, the impact alone knocking you off your feet. The jaws close around your leg almost immediately, and the pressure is enough to break bone on contact. It plants its heavy, clawed feet into your chest to pin you to the dirt, and then it starts violently whipping its massive head side to side, with its serrated teeth tearing through muscle with each motion. The pain becomes too much for your body to process all at once, which actually works in your favor, since shock sets in fast and shuts things down before the worst of it really happens. Jurassic. It's the Jurassic, and this is where dinosaurs stop being small background animals and start being the actual rulers. You notice that breathing became easier once again, as oxygen levels are starting to climb higher, and the landscape has turned back into something closer to a real forest. As you're walking through it, you notice the ground is torn up, with deep gouges in the dirt and a few broken ferns. This is the kind of mess something big leaves behind after a struggle. Curious, you follow it, and it leads you to the remains of something large and unidentifiable, mostly bone at this point, with deep gouges and bite marks already left in it. That's when you hear something moving through the brush nearby. You turn and see it watching you from maybe 40 feet away. It's an Allosaurus, around 30 feet long, walking on two thick, muscular legs with small arms tucked close and a mouthful of curved, serrated teeth. It's not hiding anymore. It's just watching, deciding whether you're worth the effort. You back away first, which is the wrong move, since the motion seems to flip a switch. It comes at you low and fast, much faster than something that size should be, and you barely get a few steps before it's already on you. The bite comes down on your your upper back. Not a clean grip, but more of a slashing strike. Its teeth are designed to tear chunks rather than crush bone outright. It pulls back hard, ripping away as it goes, then strikes again before you've even hit the ground fully. You try to crawl, but the blood loss is fast, and your body is losing the ability to coordinate any kind of escape. The last bite comes to your side, and everything goes dark. Cretaceous. This is the final stretch of the dinosaur age, and you see that flowering plants have shown up for the first time, dotting the landscape with actual color instead of just endless green conifers and ferns. You're moving along a wide floodplain, and the quiet feels off after everything you've gone through, so you start paying closer attention, scanning tree lines and listening for movement. You turn and see it stepping out from behind a cluster of trees. Tyrannosaurus rex, over 40 feet long, basically twice the Allosaurus. Its head alone is bigger than your entire body, with a bite force strong enough to crush bone like it's nothing. It's not running yet, just walking, and its eyes are already locked onto you. You run, but the sheer size of its stride eats up the distance you thought you had. It doesn't even need to sprint for long. The bite comes down across your torso, and the pressure is immediate, bone giving way instantly under the force. It lifts its head, shaking you like the impact alone might finish the job. And for a moment, everything goes white from the pain before your body stops registering anything at all. The Cretaceous belongs to Tyrannosaurus rex, the most efficient killing machine the dinosaurs ever produced. Paleogene. An asteroid just wiped out the dinosaurs, and the forests are thick and humid, almost swampy in places. Without the big dinosaurs around anymore, mammals are finally getting their chance to grow bigger. Though nothing here looks familiar, more like strange, experimental versions of animals you'd recognize. You're walking along the edge of a swamp. The ground feels soft. Then, you notice the air feels unusually still. No birds calling, no rustling in the trees, just heavy silence. You step over a fallen log, and that's when you notice the log isn't quite where you remember it being a second ago. You glance back and realize it's not a log at all. It's a snake, but calling it that doesn't really cover it, since this thing stretches out longer than a bus and is thick enough around that you could barely wrap both arms around its body. This is Titanoboa, the largest snake to ever exist, built for a warmer, more humid world that lets cold-blooded animals grow to enormous sizes. It's already moving toward you, gliding through the mud with surprising speed for something so massive. The coils wrap around your legs first, then your torso, tightening with a strength that feels like being crushed under something mechanical. Every time you exhale, the coils tighten further, not giving you any room to breathe back in. Your ribs start to strain, then crack, with the pressure building steadily. You feel your own bones piercing you, and then you pass out forever. Neogene. The world finally looks familiar enough to feel almost safe. Grasslands, scattered trees, dry, warm air, and nothing immediately threatening on the horizon. You're standing on the edge of a cliff, looking out over what should, by any reasonable expectation, be the Mediterranean Sea. Except there's no water there, just a massive empty basin stretching out below you, so deep and wide, it looks like the ground itself caved in, coated in a white crust of salt that reflects the sun back up like a mirror. This is the Messinian salinity crisis, a period when the Mediterranean got cut off from the Atlantic Ocean and slowly evaporated over thousands of years, leaving behind the largest salt desert that has ever existed on Earth. You decide to climb down toward it, hoping there might be some pocket of water somewhere at the bottom. The descent takes hours, and the further down you go, the hotter it gets. By the time you reach the flat salt floor, the temperature is well past anything the human body handles well, somewhere above 122 degrees Fahrenheit. You try to find shade, but there's nothing, just flat white salt in every direction. Sweating stops working properly when the air is this hot and dry, so your body loses water faster than you can process. Within an hour, your head is pounding and your mouth feels like chalk. Within 2 hours, your legs stop cooperating. You sit down on the salt, then lie down, staring up at the sky while your body quietly shuts down from the heat in the lowest, driest, hottest place on Earth. Quaternary. The first thing that you notice is that the air is cold, much colder than the previous ones you experienced. You're standing at the edge of a massive glacier, a wall of blue-white ice stretching upward taller than a building and extending as far as you can see in both directions. You start walking along its edge, looking for a way around it, since the landscape ahead looks more sheltered from the wind. What you don't notice straight away is that the snow-covered ground you're walking on isn't ground at all. It's a snow bridge, a thin layer of ice and packed snow that formed across a crevasse, a deep crack in the glacier that drops straight down for hundreds of feet. It looks identical to everything around it, completely solid, right up until the moment it isn't. The collapse happens without any warning, and then you're falling through. You hit a ledge of ice maybe 60 feet down, the impact knocking the breath out of you entirely. You're still alive at this point, but you're wedged into a crack in a glacier. The cold does the rest quietly and slowly. If you want to discuss this video or suggest an idea for the next one, join my Discord.